Alrighty, I have here one of the weirdest stuff books, but weirdly one of my all-time favorites. I just knocked a piece off the back of it. I took the screws out of this already. It's like been prepared earlier. CF-U1 Mark II, 1.6 gigahertz single core Intel Atom processor. I really need to paint my nails. Side. Um, Trust me, my video production skills are still entirely crap. Anyways, this one says City of Tulsa on it. Yeah. And the little panel came off the back. We'll put that back on there. This way. Yeah, doing real good, aren't I? CF-U1. Yeah, this is actually serial. This is 0, so 2010. This has camera. It has a barcode scanner. It's got 3G. It's sustained by the IMEI. It's got dual batteries. Battery 1, battery 2. Okay, open. These are hot swappable. There's the 3G information. The SIM's not in it. I don't care about 3G. It doesn't exist anymore. No need for that. Let's power it up real quick, though. And we'll see. I'm just gonna put that to the side. We'll see what this says. Should just go right into the BIOS because there's no hard drive in this one. That's how I got it. I got it really cheap because there's no hard drive. Yeah, model, serial number. 2 gigs of RAM, that's all you get. 95-70 hours, not the worst. Now the Mark 1s, avoid them. They got a gig of RAM. They got a 133 megahertz Intel Atom CPU, which is really terrible. You don't want that in your life, trust me. It's bad. So, start to remove the back. We're going to pull the pen out. The stylus goes down the side, pulled out. And the hard drive thing kind of pulls out. These snap into their home and can be pretty stiff when you pull it out. And this one's empty. See, a lot of times when organizations get rid of these, I'll pull the drives out, but they'll take the caddy, the internals of the caddy with it, which sucks because these have a really funky proprietary drive in them. So what I found is, with some cheap parts off Amazon, this 40-pin to M-SATA adapter made for iPods, a board to connect 2 of the FPV cable, the flat flex cables together. Yeah, Mobo. So this is an adapter, and right here is a resistor. About, I think I did 4.7K. It goes all the way over here to the very first pin. That pin is, well, then it goes off to ground. And this one was an early one. I put the wrong size resistor on, so I have a second one. So that's important because on this hard drive cable there is a thermistor. And if you just put this mod in directly, it will think that it's cold out and try to warm the hard drive up. And it'll never boot because it's constantly trying to preheat the hard drive. Not going to work, right? This lifts off and the back comes off. Anyways, and there's 2 little cables here. That's the speaker, and the lower one are these barcode buttons. So, got to get that off. And then there's a screw here, 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 and here. Take all these screws out, all 8 of them, and the back will separate. These have a gasket in them. It can be quite difficult to separate. You don't have to take any of the doors open or anything. It all comes off with the back. You see there's a ridge here that interfaces with a gasket. You see it down in there. And 2 screws. Take this little shield off. That's only on the models that have 3G. So this whole board here comes out. This is for the 3G. These never came with 4G. It's completely freaking useless. So now that we're to this stage, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this out. Now this has the dual pass-through right here for the dock, for a vehicle dock. So we're just gonna get down in here with a screwdriver, pop those 2 cables off. Now, see, there's cables that go up here and they loop around and yada yada yada. That's for an external GPS antenna, so that one can just come off at the top here. Don't need him anymore. These are routed all over the place. So this is where it gets interesting. We have to start taking this apart while unrouting all of these cables. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually take this screw out right here. This helps hold that board in. And where's the other one at? I think it's down here. Nope, that's it. Okay. So we also need to take out these two screws that hold the camera module in. And the reason for that is just so we can get the cables for those antenna cables that run down through the pass-through out from under it. So this should just lift up now. Oh wait, there's another screw. I see it under the tape. It's been a while since I've done this, so I'm kind of like relearning while trying to show you all how to do it. So yeah, it's been a minute. I haven't worked on one of these in a couple years. And being a Toughbook, you have all this tape and everything's really well held down and all that. Alright, so with that up, we take that off to the side, pull this little square tape up, and get rid of it. So this comes out. Take that out like that. Then we got this antenna, and these two antenna leads here. We're going to snap them free and get the tape up. That one comes off there. This one goes all the way down, right straight to the modem card down here. So what I'm going to do next is, just to get this out of the way, I want a little tiny flat screwdriver in here and peel this little piece of tape up. And then there's these two clips on the sides. Let me actually zoom this in for y'all. So there's a clip here and a clip here. So what you want to do without scraping up the main board is pull these away from the connector outwards, and that should just slide right out. Now that we got that out, I can start to unroute this black cable, which has more tape holding it down. So, I'm on. There we go. Tape's been on there for years. So this whole thing, this whole 3G board, is junk. So we're just gonna like throw it away. Oop, kick the camera tripod. Dang it! I put that back. Okay, so these two leads are for the 3G antenna. I'm actually going to pull them up and follow them around. And you see right here, WAN, WOBO, and that is one of the 3G antennas. Now, because we're just eliminating all that, there's no need to even keep this antenna in here. So I'm going to take this screw out and just simply remove the entire antenna and the wire that goes to it. It snaps into a couple little hooks in here, but after a moment of messing with it and pulling on things and all that, wiggle that out. I like to save those, you never know. The other one's on this side, right here. And same thing, go under the camera module, around the barcode scanner, a little piece of tape here in the corner, oops. So under the camera module, under that piece of tape, around, oh no, that was the Wi-Fi antenna. Oh, it's up here, it's this one. And it has a screw right here. Take that screw out. Lift the antenna module out. Pull this through the tape. Dispose of. Alright, so now we got rid of those modules. We can put the camera module screws back in. Now, all Toughbooks are like Legos. I absolutely love it. They're so easy to do this stuff too. Because they are so Lego, you can really do some crazy mods with them. I figured this out by just experimenting. About more than 5 years ago now, I contacted Toughbook. I'm like, hey, I got these U1s. They're actually Mark 1s. Like, they got no hard drives. They're bad. It came with a whole 16 gig hard drive anyways. You couldn't really do jack with it after Windows XP, you know? So, I'm like, hey, what is the pinout of the main hard drive cable, which is right here. It's this guy right here. And they're like, well, it's 40 pin ID. So I said, okay, good enough. I said, where's pin 1? They showed me where pin 1 is. They actually gave me a schematic, which was pretty impressive. I lost it. I don't have the schematic anymore. Tape, just because it's a Toughbook. But anyways, so we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to pull this ear down and this ear down, and then gently try to move this cable back. Usually use my finger for this. Yep, there we go. And you'll just ease it out of the connector. Boop. And I just tuck it back up in there. Now, what helps a lot here is a little bit of tape. And I like Kapton tape for this because it's just, I don't know, it's convenient. It doesn't mind the temperatures and stuff inside. I have my super duper 3D printed tape holder that I designed just for my Kapton tape. So what I'm going to do is remove, that's such a pain. Sorry, the camera is completely in the way, so I'm going to do it a little different. I'm going to take my screwdriver and pin this connector back, lay my tape down in here, and just tape right over the end of it, like that. See, it's back from the connector. It's got tape on it, so it'll stay there, out of the way, and we can get to this connector. Oh, sorry, fixing the tape. Fix the tape. My fingertip. All right, so this are pulled back, so that connector is open. See there? And there's a gap. And there's tape covering the old hard drive connector. So, with that little bit of fun junk done, the next thing I really got to do is attach my mod board, which is this one. Now I've got my, this has the kind where they flip upwards to attach. See, that flips upwards. Like that. Cable goes in. Like that. And snap it down. That's it. This is kind of a long cable, but that's okay. So this end goes down here. Like that. And we come in. And one side at a time, push the snap back, hold it with your finger. Push the snap back, you'll hear it, feel it snap, snap. That's it, that's connected. And now, you could take the back side of this and actually fold it under. Gently underneath here. There's space under there. You can work this whole thing kind of back in there like that. And it kind of snaps down on that edge. And that's just fine. So the next thing we need to do is we need a ground to ground this wire that shows our resistor wire for the dummy thermistor. We're just basically telling it stay steady 90 degrees. So I like to pull this screw out. It's very long. Screw is on this ground strap, which goes down here to the docking port on the bottom. There's the docking port right here. So this comes up. With that up, we can take a little bit of solder and our preheated soldering iron. Right down here at the very base of this. Like that. Leave room for a screw, of course. And just solder this little resistor in. Boop. Good connection. That's all it takes. And with that resistor soldered in there, I laid my magnetic screwdriver in the pile of screws. We get our screw back. Come down here and ground this whole thing to the chassis. Like that. Then, just for a little added security, you know, these things can take a beating. Piece of tape along here, just to hold that wire down. I'm going to go ahead and do another piece of tape just ahead of that. Across here. Like that. Everything is secure. Now, here's the fun part. We have to fold this cable over. We don't want it out here where the battery is. So, like that. Then we fold it down. And then we fold it up. Like so. So it makes this shape. Right? Now, this thing, these come in different configurations. This has the flap on the back. So that flips up. This comes in. Stay in focus, camera. You can do it. And then it presses back down. So that goes on there like that. Now we just take this, we put it up against this screw right here, kind of push it down, and it should kind of fold itself all up in there like that. Easy, breezy, beautiful. Now we need a hard drive. We got a couple of options around here. I'm going to throw in this, the label off. It's actually a Micron brand, 128 gigabyte SATA SSD. I'm actually going to be replacing this 256 gigabyte one. But to be perfectly honest, the BIOS in these does not like the 256 gig SSDs very much. It really doesn't. It's just a thing. So, as a quick test, to make sure I actually hook this up right, I'm just going to grab the back panel real quick, lay it on here, throw in my batteries, slide them up, and then yet I have the doors, because it will fall right out. Alright, give it a good squeeze together, and let's boot it up real quick, and see if it sees a hard drive. We function F2, because I think this hard drive actually has an OS on it. I think it has a Raspberry Pi OS on it. F2 for setup. Function U is F2. We got a hard drive light stuck on. This means it might not be hooked up right. Well, we'll see here in a moment. Alright, I have a feeling it doesn't like this. Usually when this happens, it's the cables. Something isn't plugged in all the way, or is plugged in upside down, which can happen. Oh, went just to BIOS that time. Hard drive not present. Okay. So, that means we need to switch these cables around. This happens. Not a big deal. Totally easy. This is why we test. Alright. So, my thought is this end of the cable might need the other way around. I'll pull this out. Going to flip this over, press it back down, and put my SSD back in this way, and see if this fixes it. It does not really matter which way this points when you put it together, so we can just put it in like that. There's enough room up in the back cover here for that height to fit in. And not be a problem at all, really. It all fits pretty nicely. And it took me quite a while to figure this out. Once I did, I was just like, oh wow, that was Should have thought that sooner, you know? One of those moments. It definitely happens. Entering setup. Hey, look at that. SK Hynix, 128 gigabytes. That was the key. Alright, so now we know it works. Excellent. Batteries come back out. Back cover. Comes back off. Goes over there. Alright, so now everything's working. We need to do some more taping. First thing I'm going to do is put a piece of tape up the back here. And around this connection right here. Make sure to push it nice and flat. And up there like that. Just to help hold that in. Now on the front side here. Yes, I know there's only one screw in it. But it's fine. I'm not going to bother to find that other screw I lost earlier. I'll put a piece of tape across this way. Press it down onto the cable and onto the circuit board. Again, to stop that from popping up. Should it get dropped or something like that happen, you don't want your hard drive just going boop and unplugging itself, right? So, that should fit in there nicely, right up against this screw boss right here. So, with that in place, I'm going to put a little piece of tape just across the whole thing. Just to kind of hold it down temporarily. Be like, what do you mean temporarily? Well, like I said, I'm going to come back and change this. Normally, I would put 3 or 4 pieces of tape across this just to keep it here. But really, there's this cavity in the back panel here that it sits so nicely into with this little peg. Just putting a little bit of pressure right here that it won't move. It's really well secured in there. So what we have here, real quick, we'll go over the modules. We've got our Bluetooth, or not Bluetooth, our barcode scanner module here, 2D. We've got our GPS antenna right here, and our GPS module right here. 1 Wi-Fi antenna, 2 Wi-Fi antennas, and the Bluetooth antenna. On the bottom, your docking connector. These have a single USB 2.0 port on them. On the unit, that's all you get. You do have headphone and microphone ports and a charger port. Really, you need the docking station to do much of anything with them. I do have one docking station shared amongst my U1s, but that's just fine. All you need is one, right? So, go ahead and make sure it's just seated down on here fully. And we'll start putting screws back in it. Now, start with this panel. Actually slides up under here. Goes a little hook in there. I always start with the center 2 screws and work my way in a kind of a circular pattern outwards. This little electric screwdriver is very consistent with torque, which helps a ton. Always run in reverse first so that your threads line up. These do screw directly into plastic. You do not want to just like put this in here and start screwing it down, because you can cut new threads instead of using the existing threads, which will cause problems with potentially stripping everything out. You don't want to strip these screws out, trust me. You don't want your U1 to fall apart. Alright, so I did those 2. I'll come to the side here. That side, and then we'll do opposite. This side. And then we'll do opposite but lower corner. So right here. And opposite of that would be this corner up here. That one grabbed. And it's tight. Okay. Then we'll do crossways again. This top corner. And then finally this corner down here. There we go. See? Nicely sealed up all the way around. Everything is still in place. Your ports lined up. This is your wireless switch in here. Off is towards the power connector. Oops. On is away. So make sure that's on so I have Wi-Fi when I boot this up. Now, the hard part. These little connectors. I like to do the fat one first, the bottom one, the 4-pin, which is the 2 barcode scanner buttons. And then this one up above is a pain. This is just a little tiny 2-pin for the 1 single speaker. It's crap speaker. It's right there. Sorry, I keep going out of frame. Man, I'm not good at this. Anyways, plugged in, and there's your little speaker right there. This lower one are these buttons. Button 1, button 2. Those are for the barcode scanner. Now, there's a hard drive in it. That's okay. We're just going to use what we got to plug the hole. But first, this has hooks. So when you put this guy on, you gotta hook it in the top and then swing it down. And then the little silver screws go here. Using a light grip on my screwdriver there because I don't want too much torque. That's it. These little ears can be broken off really easily by over torquing the screws. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Now for our hard drive caddy. I'm actually going to take this guy apart because it's jamming itself in here. Oh man, a way smaller screwdriver. Anyways, it's jamming itself down in here, and it doesn't need to be together. We're just using it to, in the most basic way possible, plug the hole. What are these screws made out of? They're teeny tiny, and I don't think I have a teeny tiny screwdriver handy. Nope, gotta bust out the kit. Not sponsored, obviously. We're gonna probably have like an iFixit kit or something handy like that. But we'll get us a 00 Phillips out here and try to take these 2 little absolutely miniature freaking screws out. What is wrong with this screw? That one I can get onto. That one seems to have a problem with it. Like there's something. There we go. Yeah, it's got a little slightly stripped out. Alright, there we go. Those 2 screws are out. Just gonna take this part, throw it away. This is all we really need, just to plug this hole and not have like a big water leak into our laptop. Nobody wants that. Thank you, Toughbook. But now I need screws that fit in these because it was missing screws. So, let's go to my Toughbook screw collection. That's not the right one. I always keep around some random Toughbook screws. Oh, those are for the M34. I'm gonna go look at my bin of Toughbook screws. I found another bin of screws. In this bin of screws is a screw that looks suspiciously like a CF-U1 hard drive screw. I'm gonna try it. This one right here. Hey, go. So. Does it go into the hole? It does. And it's nicely worn down. So from probably that old Mark 1 that I originally experimented on. Oop. This one still has factory Loctite on it. Wow. There we go. Screwed. I've got a couple of plastic shoebox bins full of like U1, H1, H2, some CF-19 parts, just bits and pieces of Toughbooks in general. Alright. See if this thing actually boots up whatever's on it. Should boot in the Raspbian, or Raspberry Pi OS. These are 32-bit machines, they are not 64-bit machines. Function Z turns on the lighted keyboard. You see it glowing? Not glowing. Glowing. Yay. Alright. Boot up. Loading initial RAM disk. I wonder what all this is. The city of Tulsa is going to be so mad at me for removing their asset tag. Oh, gross. Alright, we'll come back to that. Yep, it's booting up. Booting the Raspberry Pi desktop. Full brightness. These are bright. You can totally run Raspberry Pi desktop just fine. That's fine. I run Windows 10 Lite, which is, a bit of a hack, but in order to get the barcode and the zoom and the 4 app buttons to work, this is a scroll. This is a 1024 by 800 screen. Actually pretty high resolution. Hey, look, it's asking for my username, my password. I remember how to type on this goofy keyboard. Man, I don't have the biggest hands ever, but I can fly on this thing. Somehow I'm good at it. Oh heck, the screen's even part calibrated. It's a resistive touchscreen. Hence the style. Look, I mean, it's not super close, but I've seen worse. Anyways, look, it worked. Hey. Shows 1.6 gigahertz. Just gets connected to the Wi-Fi. Dang. This is the H1's build of Raspberry Pi OS. So, it's very similar to a U1. Mark II is an H1 Mark 1. But yeah, Toughbook model numbers. There you go. That's just how to do the hard drive mod, though. I've never really done a video on that before. Real quick show of what's inside that. Oh my. We're just going to shut this off. And probably put Windows on it. Because, yeah. We'll come back to you. Over here, off to the side, just out of view of the camera, is the docking station. Oh, dang. There's the docking station. This is my other one. This has got the same mod. This has a 3D printed hard drive cover, because this one, the whole caddy was missing. So I designed a thing. That's on Thingiverse. Look it up under Morgan Lowe. You can search the mod, the initial thing on it, on Instructables for readily available SSD mod for CF-U1 is what it's called. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description and stuff. But yeah, that's it. This one's got the Windows 10 Lite on it. And a 256 gig SSD. It has some issues with that 256 gig though. Sometimes it'll freeze up. You gotta like move the mouse and do something with it the moment it boots up. Or I think it's trying to put the SSD to sleep to save energy, and it goes, no, I'm just not coming back. Goodbye. So, not necessarily the best situation there. Yeah, use my sweet IBM keyboard with the track point. This is my test keyboard for things. So go ahead and boot this dude up real quick before I go on to the laborious process of editing this video, which is gonna be totally crap, and then uploading it to YouTube, which is also gonna be totally crap. But anyways, if I get this guy to boot up here, I'll show you. No, Windows Update. Alright, we're just going to ignore this. Anyways, I'll come back to this. Hey, look, Windows Update's done. Alright, now that junk's out of the way. Is this even in focus? I guess it's in focus. Sync activity, yeah. I turned that off for a reason. Oh, jeez, let's just bring it up here. 256 gig SSD in that boy, and the maximum these came with is 64 gigs. It's an IDE SSD in them by default. A really funky one that you just can't like go out and buy it. It's just not a thing. Of course, my Nextcloud sync is on here. Searching for display driver. But yeah, these are a little fun. They're handheld. They're goofy. They're really rugged. And I like them. So that's why I came up with this hard drive mod, to kind of extend their useful life a little bit. Because let's face it, 64 gigs in a 12-year-old SSD it doesn't work that good. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope this helps somebody out. Have a good one. Bye.